Today at the Federal Executive Council, I have presented two memos. However, the second memo is just council note about the National Council on Communications and Digital Economy, which took place in December 2021 here in Abuja, just for council noting. While the first memo presented at the Federal Executive Council, which is going to be the one to speak on now, is for the Nigerian Communications Commission for the deployment of a revenue assurance solution, that is RAS. This project has been ongoing since on 27 June 2016, almost 6 years now. And the process has been a very long one for the Commission. And the wisdom behind the deployment of this revenue assurance solution is to block leakages in the telecommunications industry, particularly as it applies to annual operating levy. The administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the revenue generating sectors to enhance and improve on revenue generation. As part of the compliance to these directives, the Nigerian Communications Commission has been automating so many processes, deploying technologies to ensure that all leakages are being blocked, and at the same time to promote the cybersecurity of our country by making sure that our cyberspace, particularly as it relates to the telecommunications sector. This system, prior to the presentation of the memo today, Nigerian Communications Commission has obtained the IT clearance from the National Information Technology Development Agency, certifying the project. Secondly, they have obtained the security report of clean bill from the Office of the National Security Advisor on it. And thirdly, also, in 2018, they obtained the endorsement from the Minister of Finance then. And fourthly, they also obtained the certificate from ICRC, that is Infrastructure Concession and Regulatory Commission. And finally, they have also obtained the certificate of no objection from the Bureau of Public Procurement. So the wisdom behind deploying this technology is just to enhance government revenue and at the same time to ensure that leakages are being blocked. There was a delay in the process because an issue came up that has to do with litigation. The two parties involved, the two genuine parties involved, finally agreed to settle the matter out of court. And the Federal High Court transmitted a letter to NCC that the issue has been settled out of court, and the Commission was permitted by the Federal High Court to proceed with the process and complete it. So in summary, this is an attempt to enhance revenue generation that will go into education, health, infrastructure, and many more. Okay, thank you very much for some questions forwarded to me by my sister Gloria from the channels. Firstly, on the issue of a national identification number and its support to security. This is a very relevant question. However, before I respond to the question specifically, allow me to remind you that obtaining national identification number is a requirement by law. It's mandatory for all citizens and legal residents in Nigeria. Look at the act establishing National Identity Management Commission, that is NIMC Act 2007, under Section 27, that it is a requirement by law. Not only that, there are some services that are not allowed to be performed or to be obtained in Nigeria without having national identification number, like passport, traveling passport, for example, driver's license, government services, including INEC voters cards. All these are the provision of the law. Furthermore, this is the global practice. There is no any responsible country where you will discover that citizens do not have their own identification number. If you go to the US, they have social security number. In the UK, for example, they have national insurance number. Look at a country like India with a population of around 1.3 billion. They have their Aadhaar number. If you go to Pakistan, they have Nadra number. So this is the global practice that citizens must have an identification number that is unique, and government will be able to use the database for national planning, for budget, for security, for economic development, for health, for education. Because without that, then it is difficult to know actually our population in the country. It's difficult to know the age bracket. It's difficult to get your national planning right. So because of this, the national identification number is a requirement by law, and secondly, is mandatory. And if you look at Section 29 of NIMSI Act, there is even a punishment if one fails to obtain it. So before we discuss about its benefits to SIM registration and others, let us address the legal issue that this is mandatory by our law. And this law has been in existence in Nigeria since 2007. That is almost 15 years now. Secondly, coming to the issue of the effectiveness of SIM and NIN registration, or NIN and SIM registration. As we all know that the priority areas of this administration under President Muhammadu Buhari are three. The core areas: number one is security, number two, economic development, and number three, fighting corruption. And that is why you will discover most of the initiatives of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, that of Nigerian Communications Commission, you will see they are in alignment with these priority areas. When it comes to security, the Constitution of Nigeria, Section 14, subsection 4, under Article B, clearly stated that the priority of government is security and welfare. It is because of this we have been coming up with so many initiatives in order to support our security institutions. Our core mandate is not security, but since we are part and parcel of the administration, whatever we do must be in alignment with the priority areas of the administration. So because of this, the idea of coming up with NIN and SIM, it is not the concept was not ours, but previous administration, because of threat, intimidation, and many more, couldn't implement it. The idea was conceptualized 20 years ago or even more, but because of resistance by criminals, it was not implemented. Don't forget the time we announced the policy in 2020, February, less than a week, some criminals started threatening my life, even on radio station, BBC, that if I fail to step back from the policy, I'm going to be eliminated. It was announced. It was announced. Why? If the policy is not important, why the criminals are intimidated? Why the extremists and the terrorists are intimidated with the policy if it is not important? So they threaten me because they know it will significantly reduce their activities, if and only if our relevant institutions leverage on what we have been doing. I'm coming. Thirdly, on the issue of security, if you want to know whether it has been reduced or no, it is better to obtain the statistics from our security institutions. As I earlier said, our mandate doesn't cover security except cybersecurity, while cybersecurity is a civil cause, not a security cause. And that is why it is being found in ICT faculties globally, not in security institutions. So only what we are doing is to support the security, and they are not under any obligation to disclose to us the success they have been recording with that. What we have done is to sanitize our database, and this has been ongoing. Secondly, when a crime is committed, there is a process of obtaining the record in database. As the minister, I am not empowered by law, just to go and ask for database record. The executive vice chairman of NCC and the CEO doesn't have power just to go and access the database. There must be some legal reasons. Some prima facie case must be established against someone that there is need for investigation. If that is done, in Cybercrime Act 2015, there is a provision of legal intercept and many more under it. What will happen? Security institutions will write to us, for example, either to the ministry or to NCC, in some cases to mobile network operators directly, that we have established this and we need to get access to biodata, this and this and this. Because if there is no high level of suspect, if there is no any prima facie case, then it is going to be abused. Because based on the provision of Constitution, our telephone conversation, our record must be confidential. This is the provision of the Constitution. They must be confidential. So only security institutions have access to it. When they write, there is a requirement. Not any officer can write. A minimum of a deputy director or its equivalent can write a letter. When they write with your justification, NCC will respond immediately with the information required. When you asked the question before I responded, I had a discussion with AV. I said, what was the last time that any security institutions wrote to you requesting for biodata? He said to me, it's more than 6 months now. Can you confirm it?
Yeah, confirm.
More than 6 months. So the issue is we have done our best to improve the database. But it is not our responsibility when a crime is committed and SIM is involved to go out looking for the owner. Is not. Our only work, sanitize the database. When security institutions need our help or our support, they write to us and we provide. You can interview them. Did they ever write to me, even once, requesting for biodata which I have failed to provide? It has never happened to me. So it is not our responsibility. Furthermore, I always commend the effort of our security institutions, looking at the situation they have found themselves. And secondly, they could be able to get certain information without coming to us. In order to make their work much, much easier, Mr. President has approved certain activities that our security institutions can do in order to make their work much, much easier. For example, the local intercept, they don't need to go to NCC or MNOs. If they have established a prima facie case, they can go ahead and do it. They have power to do that. Secondly, most of the crimes, based on the report I have received from NCC, most of the crimes committed now by criminals, they don't use their personal SIM. What they usually do, they roadblock highways. They seize the telephones of travelers. They make use of the SIM to commit crime. Or when they kidnap an innocent citizen, they will take away his phone and make a call. When it is investigated, you will discover the number is for the kidnapped, not the kidnapper. So in this situation, what are you going to do? Even in that situations, we have 1,001 ways to support security institutions, but that is not for public. Even if they seize the telephone from its owner, we will be able to trace their location if our support is needed. We will be able to trace their location wherever they are in Nigeria. We can tell you the location precisely within not more than 5 square meters or thereabout. So because of this, what we have been doing is to support them. But given the statistics, what it has done is not our own. It is the mandate of our security institutions, and they are doing the best they can. And definitely, coming from the northeast of Nigeria, I always commend security institutions, and I always commend their effort, because I know how northeast was and what it is today. Because of this, I always commend them. And finally, on the issue of 5G, you may recall that His Excellency, Mr. President Muhammad Buhari, yesterday launched the 5G policy for implementation. On the question on how it will help our security institutions, there are 1,001 ways. 5G is part of fourth industrial revolution. And fourth industrial revolution has so many technological advancements. For example, robotic is part of it, artificial intelligence is part of it, big data analytics is part of it, autonomous vehicle is part of it, quantum computing is part of it, virtual reality is part of it. If you look at all these things, all of them are applicable to security. For example, autonomous vehicle. Our security institution can leverage on 5G with real-time communications and use autonomous vehicles in situations where a human being is not supposed to be exposed because of its danger. Security institutions can use virtual reality. With 5G and virtual reality, one may be able to sit down here and visit any forest in Nigeria and get access to any part of the forest, looking at it virtually in reality without going there physically. With 5G, drones can be operated. You can control it from where you are. You can send it, it will go and perform operation and come back. With 5G, you can manage big data analytics. That is the datafication of society. You can manage big data analytics. You can collect huge amount of data in zettabyte or exabyte or even more than that. Within an hour, you can analyze and you can form your decision on it. The same with artificial intelligence. So if you discover almost all the components of the fourth industrial revolution are applicable to security institutions. And that is why Mr. President has directed them yesterday that they should immediately be proactive and leverage on this technology and handle the security challenges being confronted by Nigeria. And I hope I have answered the question. Thank you very much.
More than she asked. She doesn't have to say this. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope that please, as we have always done, let's stay focused on the big issues of the day. So much has been achieved at FEC today, and we hope that the nation will be appropriately informed. Thank you for your time and attention. We appreciate it. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you.